Somewhere out there in a parallel universe is an Ash who's not sick, and what I want to say to you is real simple. Fuck you. What's up, everybody, and welcome on back to more My Side of Things podcast. I'm your host, as always, Ash. This is now episode, I think 48, probably 49. It's most likely 48. I, as you can see, am once again sick. I also had to wait for a new chair to come in. Also decided to set up a new schedule as well. If I can grab my dang thing over here, right here. Boom! We got ourselves a brand new schedule. So podcast episodes will be recorded on Sundays and dropped on Mondays. My voice just cracked because Ash is sick. I'm not placing that back where it belongs at all. I'll do it in a little bit. There's a bunch of stuff right there that I gotta move and all that. If I end up putting it back and stuff, but yeah, no, we are back with another episode. Today we're going to be talking about WWE's current state of affairs. Is AEW holding back its women's division? We're going to talk about Jade Cargill winning the WWE Women's Championship. And we're also going to talk about ROH versus TNA. Who will have a better, or no, who's more likely to flourish in 2026? And then we're going to end things off with a will they or won't they? I decided to end it off with will they or won't they because I feel like it's much better instead of starting off with it. Just feels much better to me. Also, as per usual, when Ash is sick or allergies or whatever the heck this actually is, there will be a lot of cuts in this dang episode because, I don't think you want to hear me be like snoring up the entire time and y'all get it. Anyways, whoever listens to this at, whether it be YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your dang podcast at, make sure you like, follow, share, rate, subscribe, all of that great stuff. And if you're one of those lovely Patreon supporters, definitely appreciate you so dang much. I won't give you a kiss on your forehead because I'm sick and I know you don't want to get sick, but I guess if you want to get sick, here you go. There's a big old freaking kiss for your forehead. Don't come crying to me when you get sick. But let's go ahead and jump on into our first topic of the day. We are talking about WWE's current state of affairs. The fan base is very much so split on current WWE. You know, there's one side of the fan base that does not like anything that's happening this year. They are mad about a lot of things that are happening in WWE, whether it be the stories that feel like as if there's no depth to them or they're not really going anywhere, champions who aren't really doing much of anything, a lot of world champions who aren't getting booked, aren't having, matches, a lot of top of the line wrestlers who aren't doing much of anything either. The use of AI, some person coming back to WWE that we don't really need to talk about at all in the slightest. Won't even mention anything about this rapist at all in the slightest. But a whole lot of other things. Then on the other side of things, you have the WWE fans that are kind of just chilling on this year. They think, it's a decent year. They're investing in some things. They get to see their favorites like Rhea being constantly booked on the show, which is not a bad thing by any means. I'm just using that word constantly being booked because she is. Being able to see Io a lot, seeing Io flourish as a face, getting to see Cody Rhodes, and getting to see Cena and actually turning heel, even though he's already been a heel before, but they didn't get to really see heel Cena, or they're just wanting to see a more in your face about it heel Cena, so they got to see that this year, and a whole lot of other things that they like as well. I think I'm more leaning towards the side that has a bigger issue with WWE because I do believe that there is a lot of things that are just glaring to me, and it feels very much so Pokemon-esque. So for those of y'all that aren't too accustomed with me outside of the wrestling space, before talking wrestling, I used to talk a lot of anime. I was talking wide variety of anime: Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, Attack on Titan, Bungo Stray Dogs, Black Clover, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! Then I got into like this Pokemon fixation where I just wanted to talk Pokemon, do Pokemon facts, Pokemon theories. I was giving gym leaders teams and all that stuff and all these crazy different things and doing skits and all that stuff and yada, yada, yada. And I got really deep into the Pokemon fan base to the point where when I would give some of my frustrations, because that's what I would do with anime, like other anime as well, I would give like goods and bads of both sides. I started noticing a lot of how the Pokemon fandom was. Whenever you would critique the series or anything about Pokemon, especially the games, you had a large portion of people that would just come to bat for Pokemon and defend any kind of single thing that they did. And now with the release of Legends EA, I'm once again seeing that large, just overly defense of it. And it's like, that's how WWE is. And a part of me, I understand the defense of it because I'm like, okay, you grew up with Pokemon. This is your childhood. Of course you're going to defend it because you still love it and it still brings you joy. But the people that are critiquing it are not wrong by any means. This is a multi-billion-dollar company that is putting out a product that you would expect from a AAA studio. You wouldn't expect this from Nintendo, from Game Freak, from Poke. You wouldn't expect that from them. You would expect top-of-the-line game, listening to the fans and giving the fans what they want. But Pokemon has gotten so accustomed, and a bit greedy as well. They've gotten so accustomed, though, to what they've been doing, and because they know they have a large support of fans that will follow them and will buy the games no matter what, they're basically able to, in a sense, lack of better words, half-ass the games. And I feel like that's where WWE has gotten. And I've really started noticing this super support of WWE, that if anytime WWE does something wrong and somebody like myself or others calls it out, it's just immediately to the defense. Like just a couple days ago, or actually no, not even a couple days ago, just literally like today, one of my mutuals on TikTok, he made a video about how all of the current all of the current top champions and some of the mid-card champions are all ex-AEW wrestlers. It would be Cody, CM Punk, Stephanie Vaquer, Jade Cargill, Ricky Saints, Blake Monroe, and Ethan Page. Obviously, two of those people did come from WWE, although I can't really give WWE Cody Rhodes. He made himself on the indies and over in ROH and TNA and New Japan and AEW and all that. So that guy really is ex-AEW more than he is ex-WWE. CM Punk, yeah, okay, we already know where that guy came from. But it's like, I see that getting talked about with a lot of people, not just my mutual, and the whole entire comment section is just, oh, so you're saying that Tony Khan fumbled and WWE put the top champions or put championships onto these wrestlers because they're super dang awesome. And it's just like, well, no, they're just saying the exact same thing that y'all said when y'all would say, oh, look at the top AEW champion is an ex-WWE wrestler. Or look, this guy is getting pushed. He's an ex-WWE wrestler. And it's like, no matter what you say about WWE, you're going to have this large portion of fans to come defend it. Now, some of that is just they are super tribalistic and they are super duper stans. But I think the other side is that side that WWE is targeting, that casual side. I think like the casuals, they don't ever really speak up on a lot of these things, like whenever it comes like the whole tribalistic wars and all that, because they don't care at all, because their lives do not revolve around WWE. And that's kind of what WWE is targeting nowadays, is the casual fan. They know that a lot of their fans don't probably go back and watch episodes. They probably aren't talking WWE 24/7. They likely have a life outside of WWE. They're not like me, somebody that has to, go back and rewatch stuff and be able to talk it and make money off of it, and other people who are overly invested because they're so invested into this AEW WWE war that's been going on for about 6 freaking years now. They're targeting that casual side. They still target the tribalistic ones as well, because they know that like if they do certain things, it'll start all kind of conflict online, which gets WWE more and more talked about, which is always great for them because they constantly want to be talked about. But again, the casual fans are WWE's primary source. Those are the ones they're truly targeting, and you could tell it in the way the content is made. Constantly repeating things every single week, having a lot of things appear on social media. I don't think the social media thing is just because they want to be able to have more things like outside, and they want you to go follow the WWE IGs and YouTubes and all that. I think it's because they know a lot of these casual fans are likely scrolling social media throughout their days, and they're going to run across a WWE post. They're going to run across a WWE video on YouTube. And they know that that will just get more interaction towards them, and it will make everything look so much better on their end. So I believe they're targeting those fans a lot more. And because they are, and because the casual fans, like I said, they're not super duper mega invested into WWE. They're not super duper mega invested into wrestling as a whole. They like WWE, but it's like somebody with their favorite food. They're not eating it every single second of the day, but when they get to it, they're definitely going to enjoy it. Same thing with these casual fans. When they get to WWE, whenever they see it come across their page, they're going to enjoy it. They're going to comment on it. And that just helps WWE out so much more. And so WWE knows they don't really have to make these super in-depth stories. Things don't have to make sense every single time, or heck, even most of the time, because they have the casual fans that aren't even going to care. They're going to look at Rhea and Io versus the Kabuki Warriors and be like, I love Rhea. I love Io. I don't like the Kabuki Warriors. Well, quote unquote, don't like the Kabuki Warriors, but obviously they do. Or some of them really don't. And they're just like, oh, this is great. I love this. Or heck, they just even love Rhea and Io working together because they're such big fans of Rhea and Io. Even though the story doesn't really make much sense at all. They love Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, even though that doesn't really make much sense at all. They should not be working together. They should be very much so like how Alexa and Nia are. Alexa shouldn't be going to Charlotte and being like, oh yeah, I want to work with you. Let's be friends and all this stuff. Let's forget the past 8 years where, you bullied me and put me down a lot of times and made fun of me and all that. Hey, NXT, which mind you, I went back and watched NXT. They barely had any interactions. They barely had any interactions. So, yeah, like, look at that. WWE created a whole entire narrative because they know people aren't going to go back and watch this. At least not most people. You have people like myself and others who do make content, or people who are, again, overly invested in the WWE, which is not a bad thing, by the way. If you want to be overly invested in something, you're 100% allowed to. I am overly invested in manga, and I continuously buy all kind of different kinds, and I'm overly invested in the Bungo Stray Dogs. So even though I've watched the anime like 500 times, I'll buy the manga, I'll buy the side stories, even if some of the side stories relate to the freaking anime. Like I just bought Dazai Chuya age 15, that story, even though it's in the anime and it's barely even different from the manga. I went and got that. Went and got Bungo Stray Dogs Beast. Went and got Bungo Stray Dogs Another Story. Went and got all the dang light novels, even though some of the light novels have already been adapted into the anime. I got light novels that have an adaptation of the manga, and I got the manga as well. So it's like, it's not a problem to be overly invested into it. Just kind of pointing that out there, that there are people who are overly invested that aren't making content. They're just super duper mega WWE fans. But so it's like, because WWE doesn't have to put so much into it, like how Pokemon doesn't have to put so much into it, I believe what we have now is going to be the status quo going forward. It's always going to be like this, where it's mainly going to be a lot of the popular people who are in the world title scene. You're not really going to get much other people there. Maybe like once in a while you will, if you really need it. Like right now we're seeing Raquel get into the world title scene against Stephanie, but that's only because like there's nobody else to put there, because Bayley's in the story with Lyra, Becky Lynch is the IC champion, Rhea and Io are going against Kabuki Warriors, so there's not really anybody else to put there. So they have to put Raquel, they have to put Roxanne, but you see that they put Raquel with who? Liv, and the off chance anything happens to Liv, because Liv has shown that she has had some injuries in the past, that if anything does happen, they can at least get Liv hopefully popular enough. Raquel popular enough that if they need her to go against anybody in the world title scene, they have somebody there. But for the most part, it's going to be the popular people. Same thing on SmackDown. You see, it was just Tiffany, Jade, Nia. That's it. That was all. You didn't see anybody else touch that world title scene. You didn't even see Chelsea sniff the world title scene, which is crazy because she is popular. And then in the mid-card scene, it's probably going to be like the same 2 to 3 people just rotating in and out. The tag scene is going to be very hit or miss. Sometimes they will use it, sometimes they won't use it. On SmackDown, they knew, because SmackDown was dying everywhere else, they had to just rely on the tag division, because let's just try it and see if it works. You got a lot of people there. You got MCMG, you got Solo in them, you got the Street Profits, you got DIY. Like let's just see if it freaking works. And this is not me trying to shit on WWE by any means. I am just more so giving my thoughts on how I view WWE right now, because a lot of people have asked me, do you believe that WWE is ever going to change? Do you believe that WWE is ever going to get back to that place, that magical place that it once was? And in my opinion, I think unless they're ever under extreme duress, where they just desperately feel like they have to do something because numbers are super far down, money ain't coming in, and folks is not watching, then yes, something will change, because obviously they would have to change it. Either that or TKO sells it, one of the two. But if that never happens, which is likely never going to happen, Although it was interesting that one of this past SmackDowns was half empty, and I'm hearing now that another SmackDown coming up, like, I guess half the ring is like blocked off, so that's interesting. But I think unless it like ever gets into a dire situation, it's not ever gonna happen. And I think if SmackDown does get that bad to where like they feel like as if SmackDown is not going to be able to stand on its own too, they'll just send a super duper megastar over there and everything will be just fine. Like they would send Roman over there. They'll send maybe like not Punk because he has the world title now, but maybe someone like Jay over there. Like they'll do something to make sure that it's still afloat because it is one of their top shows. So why would you invest money into it if you're not going to at least try to keep it afloat? So it's like, I feel like as if WWE probably won't ever change. Now, does that mean that we should just stop complaining and we should stop critiquing and all that stuff? No, because we all pay our hard-earned money, so we should critique because we have the right to critique. And I think if you're one of those people that tell people like, oh, if you're just going to complain, go watch something else. No, that's like so immature in my opinion, because you're not taking into account that someone is paying their hard-earned money to watch this, whether it be their cable bill, whether it be their Netflix, whether it be their, I guess those would be the only two. Oh, well, ESPN now. But, like, they're paying their hard-earned money to watch this. And sure, you could say, well, go watch something else. But what if they watch something else on Netflix, but they also want to, watch Monday Night Raw? They want to, they pay their cable, so they want to watch Friday Night SmackDown. Like, telling somebody, like, to go watch something else, I think that's just so dumb in my opinion. People are allowed to critique things, and if you have a problem with it, I would always just say block them. It's pretty much that simple. You don't have to view somebody if you don't want to view somebody. And I'm going to even be more honest with you. Maybe this is taking it to the extreme. I think when people say if you don't like something, then block them, it feels the exact same way as when people are fighting for their rights and you tell them, well, if you don't like it here in America, then just leave. Like, it feels very like, ugh. I don't really like when people say that. It just comes off wrong to me. Like, it feels like as if you're just trying to basically silence people and not allow people to have their voice. Not saying that you can't have your voice as well, but we have to use our voices in a proper way. We can't be using our voices in harmful ways, and I feel like that's just using it in a harmful way, in my opinion. But I do believe, though, that when it comes to WWE, it's bad. I think like this is one of its worst years. I do believe this is worse in 2019. I know a lot of y'all are going to bring up the dog food incident and all that. Please go actually watch that entire thing take place and stop just looking at the dog food and then trying to forget that Roman Reigns became the tribal chief. Just try to forget that, because in 2019, nobody was talking about Roman Reigns getting dog food and being like, oh, this is just the worst thing to happen, because it was Roman Reigns at the time. It wasn't like, we didn't see him like this, generational run, or we didn't see him having this generational run like he did with the tribal chief and the bloodline and all that. That was just Roman Reigns that was, floating around the mid card at that time. He wasn't even really doing much in the world title scene. So to like just look at that and be like, oh my God, it's the craziest thing in the world. It's so disrespectful of Roman. It's so disrespectful to do to Roman Reigns. It's really not. It's really not. Honestly, though, you could do that to someone in the world title scene as well. I think like we have to also remember that this is like storytelling, and Roman was the big dog. How would you embarrass the big dog in fiction if Roman wasn't like an actual person, but like was just like a cartoon character or just like an anime or something like that? You would throw dog food at this person to embarrass them, to get them more mad. Now, as far as Kofi losing in like 18 seconds, I'm gonna be real with you, I can't explain that. Hands up. Look, man, I know Kofi's smaller than that guy, but he also fought that guy in like a 4 or 5 minute match and lost. So it's like you didn't need to have the guy lose in like 18 seconds. Although, to be fair, Kofi did have a good run that a lot of people kind of forget that he did have. And then the whole Seth and Bray Wyatt incident. I mean, look, I went back and watched it, and I'll say this: the ref stoppage is crazy. But to be fair, to be 100% fair, the ref can stop the match if they want to. And Seth was trying to kill Bray Wyatt. Like, he had a sledgehammer and everything. So to be fair, if a ref is ever going to stop a match, that's the time. It's when somebody is legitimately trying to unalive somebody. Now, is it an excuse for that match ending the way it did? No, not at all, especially because of what happened afterwards. But still, There is like some reason you could give. It's just not the greatest reason in the world. But those are like the only real bad things from that year. Because other than that, the year was pretty much good. Like it was watchable. This year, I'm not gonna lie to you, these SmackDowns have been more or less horrible. The go home shows have been some of the worst things I have seen in professional wrestling. Like they are never really that interesting. And a lot of just like the TV shows in general are just there. They're just there. And I think it's going to continue to be the norm going forward, is that WWE is going to continue to have like these, they're going to continue to have these shows where it's like you watch them, you don't watch them, whatever. Somebody's likely going to put it online anyways. They're going to be putting most of their stuff online anyway. So it's like, look it, man, as long as people show up, and I think that's just going to continue being the norm going forward, is that WWE is going to kind of just be in this space where it's like they'll put some effort into the shows, but mainly just Monday Night Raw, and then the effort they do put in, it's going to be the minimal. It's going to be the minimal, and it's only ever going to change, like I said, if they reach these record low numbers or if people just go on strike. I think that's the only way, and that's what we've been telling Pokemon fans for many upon many years now to do, and they still have not done it. They still have not done it. So it's like, if they're not going to do it because Pokemon is their childhood, WWE fans are not going to do it because WWE is their childhood. So yeah. But hey, speaking of WWE though, we got to talk about Saturday night's main event. The biggest thing to come out of that night, not CM Punk winning, Jade Cargill squashing Tiffany Stratton in 5 minutes. Which is crazy because it didn't really feel like 5 minutes. I thought it was like a minute or two. I'm so surprised that was actually 5 minutes. I went back and watched that match, and I'm like, it still does not feel like 5 minutes. But the way that she was throwing her around like a rag doll, the amount of fall away slams, the power bombs, everything, they made Jade Cargill look like an absolute monster. I thought that this was the best way to go about it. I said that if Jade Cargill was going to win, it needed to be in a squash match. But I'm not going to lie to you, I did not think that WWE was going to have it happen. I picked Jade Cargill, but I also said I see a real world where Tiffany Stratton does something to Jade, like gets disqualified or something like that, so that she holds on to it until Survivor Series and then drops it there. I figured either A, they wanted Tiffany Stratton to recover, and they wanted to at least make it look, much better and try to protect Tiffany even more, or B, they were just going to have Tiffany go over Jade still. I think that maybe Tiffany had just picked up a knee injury, like a little nick or something like that, and she was just going to recover from it, beat Jade Survivor Series, and go on to either lose to Bianca, or I was really going to start pushing some narratives that she might be Tiffy 1K. I'm not going to lie to you, man, because I called Athena 1K. I said if Athena beat Billie Starkz at Final Battle, she was going to go on to hold that belt for 1,000 days, and nobody was going to get the belt off of her, not Mercedes, not anybody else. That it was going to be Athena 1K, and it ended up happening. So, yeah, I was kind of surprised that she did get squashed. I thought WWE was not going to have that happen to Tiffany. I thought they had like a lot of... Well, I just figured they had like a lot of stock into her, and to be fair, they did protect her very well. But they still had to make Jade Cargill look strong, because after that SummerSlam match, she basically lost all of her aura. Like, it was 7 minutes. She really didn't take much damage in the match and somehow got beat. And that's been a lot of Tiffany's matches where she won't do that much damage but will somehow still win in the end. I do not like when matches are like that. I'm gonna be real with you. I think if you don't do at least equal to even more damage, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Especially if you're a face. I feel like faces should have to do way more damage to heels. Like, if you look in any kind of anime or comic, most of the time, if somebody is even or like within like relative, like powers, they have to do, like, the good character has to do way more damage to the bad character to actually be able to win the fight. So for Tiffany just to win, like, without ever really doing much damage, odd to me, to say the least. But honestly, now that Tiffany's reign is done, I will say this. I don't like the way it ended. Not getting squashed by Jade. I think getting squashed by Jade is not the issue. I thought she should have beat Stephanie Valkyrie. I thought you could have set up Jade and Tiffany a lot better by having her lose to Jade and her first loss be to Jade. I feel like that would have made a lot more sense, especially if you would have made her look a lot more braggadocious going into that match, so you can actually set up a proper feud between the two. And I just kind of wish that they would have done some other things throughout the reign, like making her look a lot more cocky throughout it, not making her so much of a babyface, because I feel like she could have had a way better reign. It's gonna suck that this is one of the worst reigns of the modern era, in my opinion, when it comes to the women's championships, or just really any women's championship in general, whether it be tag team, singles title, a mid-card title or world title. I think this really is one of the worst ones that we've seen, because WWE just had to make her into basically more or less a babyface, and it just did not work out at all for Tiffany. But on the other hand, I think Jade Cargill can have an absolutely amazing run. WWE just has to be willing to do what is necessary, which is squash matches. She needs to squash most of her opponents. If you want to do a bunch of like 5-minute squash matches, that's fine. I don't think it needs to be like a minute or two by any means. But definitely doing like a bunch of squash matches and squash fan favorites. Thea Hale, Ren Sinclair, Chelsea Green. Eventually have Alexa and Charlotte come after her. Don't squash them, obviously. Have like at least like 10 to 12-minute matches with them, maybe even 15-minute matches with them. Have like as long as you possibly can without, diminishing the power that is Jade, but being able to show off that these women's intelligence is just so great that they're able to outmaneuver Jade and be able to work around her power so that her power isn't as effective to them. Have her go up against women from TNA like Mara Sade and Lei Ying Lee, maybe even go up against Indy Hartwell, maybe some other women that are actually from TNA and not ex-WWE wrestlers and all that. But I think bringing in women like them that are also fan favorites as well, and people feel like, especially Mara Sade, that she was fumbled. And I think the last person she should fight is either Lash Legend or Charlotte Flair. I think before the big Bianca match, because we all think that match is coming, she needs to fight one of those two for one reason and one reason only. Show that you can either beat one of the best in Charlotte Flair, or that you can go power for power with somebody and still dominate them in a short amount of time. Because going into that going into the Bianca Belair match, Jade is going to have to be able to show that she's on an equal footing with Bianca. Because, sure, she might have the physique to match Bianca, but Bianca's beaten a lot of people. The only one she hasn't beaten one-on-one is Charlotte Flair. So I think if Jade is able to say that she beat Charlotte and Bianca couldn't, that's going to be able to add just more fuel to the fire. If she's able to say that she beat women just as big as her in Lash Legend, that's going to add more fuel to the fire of this feud. And then as far as the Bianca match, when it does happen, I think it could be anywhere from like 15 to 18 minutes. I think Bianca can give Jade a really good like 20-minute match if they want to go that far. Although, to be fair, I don't think any of the women's WrestleMania matches have been 20 minutes besides, I think, Bianca and Sasha and maybe Rhea Charlotte, but I could be wrong on that one. I didn't look those 2 times up. I was busy looking up other times that we're going to get to in just a minute when it comes to Jade. But I think for the most part, like most of the women's matches have been under 20 minutes, because even that women's triple threat last year was only like 15, 16 minutes, which is crazy to think about. That you have 3 of the best women wrestlers on the roster and you only give them like 15, 16 minutes. That is disgusting. But I think Bianca can give her a really good match. And I think Bianca will be able to propel that feud to being much better than what it could be if they both couldn't talk on the mic. And I think as long as they just make Jade look strong enough, that's going to be fine. Like, I think the mic work is not really going to be a big thing with her. I have a pretty infamous TikTok where I was pretty critical of Stephanie Vauquer. And a lot of people are already kind of, doing the whole race thing and all that. First of all, I'm literally Hispanic as well. I don't understand how people don't, see this, but okay. But with Stephanie Vauquer, the biggest thing about her that I said was going to be an issue for her in her reign is that people love to watch Stephanie wrestle. That's what they love to see, the technicality of Stephanie. They want to see these 4-star matches. These even could be 5-star matches. That's what people love when it comes to Stephanie, not just her behind, even though a lot of people do love her behind, mainly the casuals. But like a lot of people love to watch her wrestle. She wasn't going to be able to do that in WWE. Look at Io Sky. She did not have a good reign because she wasn't able to wrestle some of the best wrestlers on the roster. She just wasn't able to do that because that's not WWE. It's worldwide entertainment, not world wrestling entertainment. That E means so much. Miz said it, Vince said it, Triple Safe said it. It's all about the entertainment. With Jade, she epitomizes entertainment. Her thing when it comes to Jade Cargill, it's not the wrestling, it's not the mic work, it's not the character work. We just want to see Jade destroy. because Jade can destroy. The woman is built like an African goddess. She is the living embodiment of Aphrodite. She looks like as if she could destroy the roster single-handedly by herself all at once. The woman is built like crazy. So we want to see that power on full display. WWE can easily do that. Now, are squash matches the most entertaining thing? No, not at all in the slightest. But I think Jade can make it entertaining enough just by running through her opponents and always looking great when she does it. I think she can. Now, do many others think she can? No, a lot of people think she's going to have a bad reign because she can't wrestle and all this stuff. And I just want to say to anybody who says that she can't wrestle, Ash did a little bit of research. I did a little bit of research, y'all. You know how easy it is to do this thing called research? I went and did me some. So like I said, Ash decided to go do a little bit of research, right? I hate when I leave the notes app and I got to scroll all the way down to get back to where I'm at, man. Come on. So Ash decided to go ahead and do a little bit of research, right? Little good old-fashioned research. So Jade Cargill has 5 total years that she's been in wrestling. 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025. In 2021, she wrestled a total of 23 matches. In 2022, 24 matches. 2023, 17 matches. In 2024, 47 matches. But I want to take off 22 of those. No, wait. My bad. It might have been 20. Let me see. Take off 20 of those because those were house show matches. And then in 2022, she wrestled 22 matches, but take off 6 of those because those were house show matches. So 2024's would actually be 27, and 2025's would actually be 16. Now, in each of these years, these are the amount of hours that she wrestled in totality. So in 2021, again, she wrestled a total of 23 matches. The match time equals up to 1 hour and 13 minutes. The entirety of 2021 is 1 hour and 13 minutes. 2022, she wrestled a total of 24 matches. The entire match time for the entire year is 2 hours and 15 minutes. In 2023, she wrestled 17 total matches. The total match time for that entire year is 1 hour and 29 minutes. For 2024, she wrestled a total of, like we said, 27 matches. I wasn't counting the house shows because they don't have times on those. For the totality of that year, she wrestled 3 hours and 13 minutes. Now, I want to remind y'all about this year, though, 2024. She was in a tag team. She has a total of 3 singles matches that year. A total of 3 singles matches. So that match time looks a whole lot different if we were to only take Jade Cargill being actually in the ring and not Bianca being in the ring for most of the match. Remember to take that into account. Now in 2025, she wrestled a total of 16 matches. I forgot to correct this last one into the proper hours. 2 hours in total and about 43 seconds because it's 163 minutes. So yeah, so 2 hours and 43 total minutes. So from 2021 to 2025, the total amount of time that she's wrestled in a ring in front of people is 10 hours and 41 minutes. I did a little extra math. I decided to use Miss Blake Monroe, who's had a total of 8 matches this year in WWE. Her total time in those 8 matches is 1 hour and 26 minutes. 1 hour and 26 minutes. Now, got to go add on to this though, because I want to do a little comparison year by year. So in year 1 in 2020, if we compared her 2025 or Blake Monroe's 2025, these 8 matches in WWE to Jade Cargill's entirety of 2021, which again was 23 matches, Blake Monroe, oh my gosh, why does it do this? Blake Monroe wrestled 7 more minutes in 8 matches. In 8 matches, she wrestled 7 more minutes. In 2022, she wrestled 53 less minutes than Jade. In 2023, she wrestled 1 less minute than Jade. In 2024, she wrestled an hour and about, what is this? Like an hour and I want to say 58 minutes. I think that is around somewhere around there. About like an hour and 58 minutes. I had to convert it to minutes. I don't know why I did that. And then in 2025, she's wrestled an hour and 27 less minutes than Jade. In 8 matches. Now, if we doubled Blake's time, which would mean that we would double her matches to 16. In 2021, she's wrestled an hour and 39 minutes more. In 2022, she's wrestled about 37 minutes more. In 2023, she's wrestled an hour and 23 minutes more. And in 2024, Jade's wrestled about what is that? 30 minutes more, I think. Yeah. Oh, yeah, my bad. 37 minutes longer. And then in 2025, she's wrestled 12 minutes longer for Jade. Again, Blake Monroe, in 8 matches, beats her out by 3 of her years if you doubled it. She beats her out by 1 year if you just kept it regular. So maybe it's not on Jade. That's all I want to say. That's all these numbers are trying to say. Maybe it's not on Jade. These companies are not having this woman wrestle that much. There are women with Blake Monroe who have wrestled only 8 matches and are damn near beating her. They're damn near beating her with only 8 matches, or they're like an hour less than her. Now imagine if I took someone like a Rhea Ripley. Imagine if I took someone, let's not use Rhea. Let's use someone that's less inexperienced. Let's use Roxanne Perez. Because I guarantee you Roxanne Perez probably triples Jade's time. Because she has the most matches this year. I guarantee if we use somebody in NXT, someone that's been there the entire year, a Lash Legend, a Jada Parker, a JC Jane, a Fallon Henley. I guarantee you all these women have more times than her, probably by a lot more. So you can say, is it Jade or is it the companies? And if you're going to tell me that, oh, well, Jade can't wrestle, and that's the reason why she can't wrestle as long, buddy, again, I'm going to go back to these matches. I want to read off some of these matches to y'all because these times is actually sick. She has a match that lasted 1 minute and 9 seconds, 31 seconds, 1 minute and 59 seconds, 1 minute and 2 seconds, 1 minute and 11 seconds, 1 minute and 1 second, 49 seconds, 1 minute and 5 seconds, 1 minute and 35 seconds, 45 seconds, 38 seconds, 1 minute and 13 seconds, 1 minute and 30 seconds, 3 minutes and 30 seconds, 1 minute and 12 seconds. And that's her 2021. If I look at her 2022, as a TBS champion, by the way, 1 minute and 20 seconds, 2 minutes and 20 seconds, 1 minute and 50 seconds, 2 minutes and 36 seconds, 1 minute and 55 seconds. What are we talking about here? 1 minute and 59 seconds, 2 minutes and 28 seconds. Mind you, that woman that she beat in 2 minutes and 28 seconds was Julia Hart, who's a future TBS champion. Like, what are we talking about here? 2023 when she's still a TBS champion. I was looking at that backwards. 50 seconds. She lost the belt to Chris Statlander in 50 seconds. 36 seconds to beat Danny B. 36 seconds to beat Danny B. 31 seconds. 38 seconds. 43 seconds. 1 minute and 8 seconds. 1 minute and 57 seconds. 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Now, again, you want to say the woman can't wrestle? She wrestled Chris Statlander for 10 minutes. She wrestled her for 10 minutes. She wrestled Taya Valkyrie for 8 minutes and 47 seconds. She wrestled Billy Starks for 8.5 minutes. She wrestled Willow Nightingale. Oh, my God, that's a tag team match. She wrestled Sky Blue, again, by the way, the same woman that she beat in like a minute. She wrestled her for 9 minutes. So, clearly the woman can go in the ring for longer than like a minute. She wrestled Kiara Hogan for 7.5 minutes. She wrestled Nyla Rose for basically 8 minutes, like 7 minutes and 59 seconds. She wrestled Willow Nightingale for 7.5 minutes. She wrestled Madison Rayne for 7 minutes and 50 seconds, or 7 minutes and 47 seconds. Let's see. She wrestled Marina Shafir in 2022 for 11 minutes and 41 seconds. She wrestled Ruby Soho for 11 minutes and 13 seconds. So clearly, the woman can wrestle longer than a freaking minute. Thunder Rosa, 10 minutes and 59 seconds. She beat my bad. She faced Nyla Rose and Thunder Rosa. She beat them in 9 minutes. She faced Red Velvet for 9 minutes. For 9 total minutes. She wrestled Red Velvet again for 7.5 minutes. So clearly the woman can wrestle for longer than a freaking minute or two. Clearly she can. It's just these companies don't do that because they're trying to show off the strength. The problem is they're not showing it off in the right ways. They're not. And that's AEW. Let's see how WWE does. Which, mind you, most of her matches have been under 10 minutes. Even though we know that she can wrestle more than 10 minutes. If we think the woman can't wrestle more than 10 minutes, she definitely can. The problem is not Jade Cargill. It's not. I can tell you what the problem is. They don't know how to portray strength in a much longer match. That's a storytelling issue. That's a storytelling issue. And not on Jade Cargill. That is on the companies for not being able to write a story properly. It's not on Jade. Y'all need to stop blaming this woman. If you honestly think that Jade Cargill, in the condition that she's in, cannot last longer than 10 minutes in a damn ring, you're on crack. You are on the purest of crack. You think a woman that physically fit does not have great stamina? Really? The woman does cardio all the time. You think she doesn't have great stamina? She has great stamina. The woman can last in a ring, clearly. They just don't know how to portray strength longer than freaking a minute or two. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to do so. It's really not. Now, am I going to sit here off the dome it? No, because then I'm going to look like an idiot if I mess it up. But I guarantee you, if I took about 5-10 minutes of my free time in the day, I probably could write a way to have her be able to portray her strength longer than 10 minutes. I probably could. Probably more than 5-10 minutes. But maybe you know what? No. I ain't going to second guess myself. I guarantee I could do it in 5 to 10 minutes. I guarantee I could, because it can't be this hard. It can't be this hard. If authors and storytellers can be able to write out fight scenes of super duper strong characters and make them look strong in a very long fight, you can do the same thing in wrestling. You can do the same thing in wrestling, because that's all it is. That's all it is. It's just a story. That's all you gotta do. Go look at Uvo Gin versus Karapika. I forgot Hunter x Hunter's mangaka's name, but he made Uvo Gin look strong against Karapika. And Karapika had a literal easy way to beat that man in 2 seconds. And he still made him look strong. Look at early Sukuna versus Gojo. That was a one-finger Sukuna. Still looked pretty strong against Gojo. Still looked pretty strong against him. Look at Naruto and Sasuke versus not Kakashi versus Zabuza. They still look pretty strong against him. You know how they did that? By using the brain. That's all you got to do. Make the other wrestlers look as if they're intelligent, and find ways to get around her. Now, are there maybe some things that Jade Cargill still struggles with in the ring? Maybe transitioning graps and all that stuff? Yeah, I would say so, yeah. I definitely see a little bit of slip-ups here and there. But, that's nothing you can't work around. I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen the greatest of technical wrestlers have slip-ups. I've seen Zack Sabre Jr. have slip-ups in a match. He'll tell you himself that he's had slip-ups in a match. I've seen Ilya Dragunov have a lot of slip-ups in a match. I've seen Chad Gable have a lot of slip-ups. I've seen Kenny Omega have slip-ups. I've seen Will Ospreay have a lot of slip-ups. I've seen Swerve Strickland have slip-ups. I've seen Lee Moriarty have slip-ups. I've seen Nigel McGuinness have slip-ups. They all have slip-ups. It's just about how you correct it. That's all it is. And either A, they're not instilling the confidence into her, so somebody is kind of berating her with a lot of negativity, and it's making her not feel confident about herself, or she's not being trained enough to do that. And you can't just tell me, oh, well, Jade Cargill had Bryan Danielson. How long did Jade Cargill have Bryan Danielson for? We don't even know. We don't even know what the hell they were working on when they were training, so let's not say that. Let's not even say that. And now she's in WWE. Who's training her now? Who's training her now? Is Ilya Dragunov training her? Is Gunther training her? Is CM Punk training? Like, who's training her? I don't know who's training her. So we don't even know if she's practicing grappling or not. We don't know if she is. And I'm going to be real with you. I don't think they're really teaching much of them. I don't think they're teaching much of them grappling because I seen Tiffany go against Stephanie Vauquer, and Tiffany was missing almost every single hold. She was. That's not hating on Tiffany, by the way. That's just pointing out that I think a lot of these women are not being trained grappling in WWE because I think they might want to go back to the Divas era when a lot of them couldn't grapple. I think they're going back to that time. So let's not blame Jade, or let's not solely blame Jade. You want to put some blame on Jade? Okay, sure, because everybody deserves blame here. 1,000%. But let's put some blame on the companies first. Let's put some blame on them storytellers first, who clearly can't tell a dang story. Because I want to tell y'all right now, when it comes to being able to tell a story in the ring, a lot of that comes from the people who are telling you the story. You need a good story to be able to tell in the ring. Two wrestlers can't go out there and just go put on a 5-star classic without any kind of story. They need a story. And if the story is just not good, if the story's not good or it's overly complicated, it's not going to work. It's not going to work, y'all. I'm just like so for real with y'all. It's not going to work. You cannot overly complicate things, especially for somebody who's still learning how to do this. Also want to point out that Jade Cargill was in a bunch of singles matches in AEW. Very short ones, but for the most part, singles matches. Then went to WWE, had a bunch of tag team matches, only tag team matches in 2024, besides like the 3 that were singles matches. And then in 2025, she's now expected to be a singles wrestler. Now, you have to make the transition from AEW to WWE. That's already a transition in itself. But you're not transitioning, just singles to singles. No. You're transitioning as a singles wrestler to a tag wrestler. Something you very rarely did in AEW. So now you got to learn how to do that. Because tag team wrestling is a whole different art than singles wrestling. Then you're having to learn the WWE style of tag team wrestling. Oh, but wait, hold on. No, Jade. Now in 2025, you're going to transition into a singles wrestler. Look at everything that they've been asking her to do. They've been asking her to do a lot. And for people that are going to say, we'll go to NXT. I'm going to ask this question now. How many wrestlers who went to NXT improved their in-ring wrestling? How many of them that went to NXT from somewhere else, so a New Japan, an ROH, a TNA, a Stardom, a CMLL, etc., how many of them improved their in-ring wrestling? How many? Did Finn Balor get better? Did Samoa Joe get better? Did Shinsuke Nakamura get better? Did Blake Monroe get better? Did Ricky Saints get better? Did Ethan Page get better? Did Lexis King get better? Did these wrestlers get better? Or did they look better overall as characters? I think that's what it really is. For some of them. Not all of them. Honestly, I think all of them kind of look the same still, in my opinion. I think Blake Monroe still looks the same. I think she's a bit watered down, but I think she pretty much looks the same. Ethan Page is the one that looks the best. I think he looks the best, but that's because he's like actually found himself now. Lexis King kind of found himself as well because he really didn't have much of a character in AEW. But to be fair, he ain't doing really a dang thing in NXT. But let's ask ourselves that. How many of these people that came from different companies looked better in the ring? Specifically in the ring. Not their characters, not their mic work, not the charisma, none of that. Specifically in the ring when they went to NXT. Because y'all keep saying that Jade should have went to NXT. Went to NXT for what? To get her mic and character work and charisma better? Okay, but y'all still would have bitched and complained about the ring work being trash. So NXT would have did what for her exactly? Just got her better on the other areas, but still had her be poor in the ring, so then y'all can still complain about her ring work being bad. Because that's all it would have did. That's all it would have did. I have not seen any of these other wrestlers go to NXT and get better in the ring. The only ones I have are the people who don't have a wrestling background. Like Braun Breaker, Obafemi, Jada Parker, Lash Legend, like them. Yeah, I seen them get better in the ring because they were never in the ring before. They were never in it before. That's why they look so much better in the ring now. Duh. But I don't think Jade Cargill going to NXT would have helped her by any means. I don't think it would have. Who would you rather learn from? People in NXT or three-time WWE Women's Champion Bianca Belair? Soon to be 3-time WWE Women's Champion Naomi. Wrestling against 5-time Women's Champion Asuka. Wrestling against IWGP Women's Champion, former NXT Women's Champion, and I also believe World of Stardom Champion Kairi Sane. Former NXT UK Women's Champion, longest reigning UK Women's Champion, Alba Fire. I'd rather wrestle them than go to NXT and wrestle a bunch of folk who are pretty much all out of college and have very little wrestling experience as is. What am I going to learn from them? No offense to anybody in NXT, by the way, if you happen to come across this. No offense to y'all. I'm learning more from the experienced veterans being in that locker room with experienced veterans than I am from NXT. These wrestlers that went to NXT first, they didn't go to NXT first because they wanted to go, because they believed they were going to learn more there. They went to NXT because they likely, wanted to experience NXT because they have WWE dreams. They want to be able to do that. Like, I don't have WWE dreams. But if WWE called me right now and said, hey, yo, you want to come, be on our roster? I'll be like, yeah, sure. They'll be like, do you want to go to WWE or do you want to go to NXT first? I'll be like, let me go to NXT first because I want to experience that, because you grow up watching the NXT crowd and seeing how hyped they get and all that. It feels like a college environment. I would love to go there first and then go to the main roster. Maybe that wasn't for Jade. Maybe Jade didn't want to do that. Maybe they didn't even ask her to do that. We don't know. Like, why don't y'all base one person's thing off another person's thing? Because y'all say, oh, well, Blake Monroe got asked if she wanted to go to Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown or if she wanted to go to NXT. So why didn't Jade do that? How do we even know that Jade was asked that? How do we even know she was asked that? She might not even have been asked that question. We don't know. We don't. So it's like, y'all are saying the woman should have went to NXT. We don't even know if she was asked to go there. Even if she went there, what does it actually do for her that she can't learn on the main roster? Mind you, she's in the same locker rooms as Nia Jax, Becky Lynch, Bayley, Charlotte Flair, 3 of the 4 horsewomen. Just some names, just some names, 16-time world champion Charlotte Flair, 7-time world champion Becky Lynch, I think 4 or 5-time world champion Bayley, like 3 or 4-time world champion Nia Jax. I don't know her world champion number, to be honest. Multi-time world champion Alexa Bliss, 5. So it's like, again, who are you going to learn from better? The experienced veterans who have been through it all, especially some who have been through the ups and downs like a Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss, or going to NXT and learning from a bunch of people who are still trying to learn how to wrestle themselves with very little experienced wrestlers there. Again, how many of their wrestlers actually improved in the ring? And I could look at a few of them right now and say they're getting stifled. Say they're getting stifled as hell. Jada Parker, she has not grown at all. Like, over these past, since the beginning of the year, she has not looked better than last year. In the slightest. So, Kalani Jordan does not look any better in the ring this year than she did last year. Sol Ruka, I think the only reason she looks better because she feels more comfortable in the ring. But if I compare this Sol Ruka to, previous, before injury Sol Ruka, she looks the exact same. Sasuke special, all that stuff, looks the exact same to me. I don't think she looks any better. I don't think Lash Legend, I think Lash Legend looks better other areas, but not in the ring. I think she looks the exact same as she did last year. I don't see any improvement from year to year. With the ones that have already, I feel like, or had these large improvements in 2024, or for Sol Ruka the year before, I don't see any improvement this year. The only one I've really seen improvement from is JC Jane. And to be fair, I just think JC never got a shot before because she always looked good before. But she looked a lot more champion and a lot more leader of a division. She looked way better this year as an NXT Women's Champion. But it's I don't think that Jade going to NXT would have helped her much in the ring. Because I can't think of one singular wrestler who went from one company to NXT and looked better. I can't think of one. I can tell you people that looked worse. I can tell you people that looked way worse. Chelsea Green. Meechin. They looked way worse. So, I don't want to say Wesley looked worse because he still looked really damn good. Definitely took some moves out of his repertoire, though. I'll say that. Carmelo Hayes kind of the same thing as well, but I wouldn't say worse by any means. Just took some moves out of the repertoire. Blake Monroe doesn't really look. Nah, you know what? I'm actually gonna say Blake. I think she's taken a lot of moves out of her repertoire. I don't think she looks as good, especially with the Mayday not being her finisher anymore. I don't think she looks like as good by any means. Could have literally just called it Blake Day. Okay, that's a really bad name. It's a really bad name. I mean, I was gonna say you can call it Monroe Down, but that has a lot of different connotations. Just you know, I don't really. I mean, not connotation. The innuendos. Yeah. That would have been very, very interesting. So yeah, I don't think I can think of any wrestler who went from one company to another that looked better in NXT and ring wise. So I don't think Jade going there would have really helped there much. I don't think it would have by any means. So yeah, look, like I'm saying, I say all this to say, ease up on Jade Cargill. Ease up on Jade Cargill. Like, or let's just not solely blame her. Let's not solely blame Jade Cargill. And I think, like, this is where that stan in a lot of people, it's really, really showing, and it's really nasty. The fact that a lot of people cannot blame the company for XYZ and instead want to blame the wrestler, it's really weird to me. It's really, really weird to me. Like, a lot of people say that Cody Rhodes is just so bad as a face. How about you give the guy a different script? Stop having him repeat his own lines. Why does he have to keep repeating his lines? I said the same thing about Darby Allin. The only thing I'll give for Darby Allin is, like, if I climbed Mount Everest and I did a kickflip on Mount Everest, yeah, I'm bragging about that every single day. But the whole fighting for AEW thing every single time, yeah, give the guy different lines. How about we tell these wrestling companies to give their baby faces different lines so they're not saying the same thing over and over again? Did y'all watch Naruto like how I watched Naruto and heard Naruto say the same lines over and over? Besides the, I'm going to be Hokage one day. Believe it. Besides that boy wasn't repeating his lines. If I go grab my dang Naruto manga, I'll tell you right now, that boy was not repeating his lines to them villains. Was he talk jutsuing them every single time? Yes. Was he giving them different quotes every single time? Yes. Because you know why? Those are writers. Those are writers. And I think we need to start talking about these wrestling companies and their poor writers. Because I've said it for a while now, man. I've said it for a while now. I don't know if a lot of these writers at these companies are studying storytelling or not. I don't know if it's them or if it's the head booker themselves that is just being too much of a all about the money person and, you know, rushing them and all that stuff. Let me get the writers a little saving grace. Maybe it is just them being overly rushed. Which then goes into maybe wrestling needs to have off seasons. Maybe it needs to. So you can be able to write out storylines so things can be better. Because you're expecting your baby faces to be able to give the same lines every single time, and the crowd still loves them. After a while, it's going to get boring. You expect your heels to basically more or less all be the exact same. And after a while, it gets boring. A lot of these stories have no depth to them at all in the slightest. They ain't got an ounce of depth. A lot of them don't. And that's all across the board, not just WWE. You have a lot of dragging out of things. A lot of, let me throw 50 different noodles and see which one sticks. Like, there's a lot of this that happens. Like with that Samoa Joe Hangman thing, they threw 3 different noodles to see if it would stick on the wall. Hangman, you were never rocking with us. I need to show the real Samoa Joe. And then he said something else. I forgot what he said. Oh, about he said something else. I forgot what it was. Oh, you never beat me. And the only one he's been sticking on now, because he ain't talked about how Hangman's betrayed him in the ops apparently, or used him in the ops apparently. No, the only one he's talking about now is, if you got a champion, I'm coming after you. Oh, so the other 3 didn't work, basically is what you're saying. The other 3 didn't work. So you didn't even use any one of those. Now it's just, if you got a champion, I'm coming after you. Okay, what about Kazuchika Okada? What about Takeshita? What about Kyle Fletcher? What about Brodito? What about Bandito? You know, you're an ROH guy. What about him? What about Nick Wayne? I mean, he's hurt, but so there is that. But like, yeah, why not Bandito? You're literally more tied to ROH than you are any other company. Why not ROH? Why not Bandito? Exactly. See? See where I say you're just throwing freaking noodles at a wall to see what sticks? See how I say that? That's what they're doing. And mind you, for some people, that's fine, because I think most companies target casuals anyways. So that's fine. But let's not blame the wrestlers when the company's poor writing and poor booking is really the issue. Cody can be a great babyface if he was given different lines to say. Drew McIntyre could be a much more interesting heel if he wasn't going out there bitching and complaining about the same thing every single week. They're screwing me over. They're screwing me over. Everybody's against me. Everybody's against. All you guys that are against me. Same thing he says every single time. Every single time. He don't say a different thing. It'd be the same wordage. It'd be the same wordage every single time. Jey Uso, yeet. I'm gonna beat your ass. Yeet. Yeet. That's all it is. Ain't nothing different. Ain't nothing different. It's just me, Oos. That's all it is. I ain't got nobody else. I did this on my own. I'm gonna keep doing it on my yeet. That's all it is. You expect them to be better with this? You expect them to be better when they're given the same scripts every single week? Giving the same script every single week with a little bit of word change. That's it. Why are we so quick to blame the wrestlers? That's my thing. That's my only thing with this whole entire Jade Cargill. I guess with the Jade Cargill segment, and I guess this as well, if I break it up into a segment. I don't know. But it's like, I don't think we should blame the wrestlers, man. We're blaming Jey Uso for being a bad wrestler. Allow the guy to show more in the ring than just what he shows. Allow him to do more in the ring than just what he shows. Stop having that guy go out there and do the whole, yeet, yeet, it's just me, Oos. Day one, it's just me, Oos. Day one, it's just me. For like 5 freaking minutes, and then you run it back and do another 5 minutes. The guy is gassed. I would love to see any one of y'all who are even in shape, by the way, the ones of y'all that are in shape as well, go walk down at least 50 stairs, go yeet while doing so. So stopping at about every 8 to 10 stairs and doing the little yeet thing, going into a ring, yeeting as well, all the yeets and all that stuff, run it back and go up to the top rope and yeet again and do it again for like 3 to 5 minutes. And then let me see you have a at least 10-minute match and not be gassed already at the beginning of the match. How about we stop blaming Jey Uso for why he can't cut a promo because he's so damn gassed? If I had to do that, I would be gassed. I'm in fairly good shape. I'm gassed just from doing this. I'm not gassed, but I'm like getting a little winded. You can hear a little bit of breathing in my voice and all that stuff. But like, I can't blame Jay for being gassed when they got this man doing all this. Like, come on, man. Come on. Like what are we expecting? Then you got CM Punk going out there, walking out to the dang ring. Look in my eyes. What do you see? Like, he's singing the whole goddamn song. He's singing the song too. Dancing with folk and all that stuff. Come on, bro. Not dancing, but like, in the crowd cheering all the folks and all that stuff. But it's like, come on, bro. We can't expect folk. We can't expect certain things from folk if we know the company is kind of, in a sense, screwing them over. Cody, Jay, Jade, hell, even Tiffany, you can say in a sense, they're screwing her over too. Limiting her moveset. Go back and watch her NXT. Way deeper bag. She wasn't just a swanton and a moonsault merchant. She had a really crazy springboard arm drag she used to do. She don't even do that anymore. The hell happened to that move? Why is it that WWE has to limit all their wrestlers' movesets? Like, why is that? Why do they have to limit the moveset so much to where they can only do a couple moves per match? Like 2 to 3 moves, maybe 4 moves per match. And it's happening with all the wrestlers. Gunther's bag is way deeper than what he's shown. Ilya's bag is way deeper than what he's shown. He could be out there grappling like Zack Sabre Jr., but they don't let him do it. They don't let him do it. Penta got a way deeper bag than what he's shown. So why are we blaming the wrestlers when it's clearly not the wrestlers? You think Jey Uso wants to only use a couple of moves per match? I mean, at this point, he probably only want a move per match. But, like, I guarantee you, if he wasn't so exhausted going into the match, he would love to do all the other moves he would do. Bro does a Poison Rana. He barely even does it anymore. He does it like once a year. He can do more than what he's doing, but they don't let him do more than what he's doing. So, again, let's not blame these wrestlers. Let's start looking more at the companies. And then we could talk about the wrestlers and be like, okay, you are limited in certain areas. Like Jade Cargill, I think she's pretty limited in her mic work. But to be fair, she's got a movie or a TV show offer. So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to watch this TV show because it's about crime and all that stuff. Actually going to watch crime show. I got to get on Chicago PD soon and Law and Order SVU. But I'm going to watch this show with I think Major Power, something like that. Major, I forgot his name. I'm going to watch it though. And if I see Jade Cargill sounding good in that damn TV show, we're going to have a whole lot of different conversations. If her mic work sound really good in there, we're going to have a whole lot of different conversations. And I don't want to hear nobody talk about it's pre-recorded and all that. You still got to be good at acting to deliver a good performance, right? Like, you just know it's a thing, right? It don't matter how many times you do it. If you can't act, you're not going to be able to give a good performance. So if Jade is giving good performances, we're going to have a whole lot of different conversations. A lot of nasty conversations. And honestly, I do hope that, last thing on this whole entire thing, I do hope that Jade Cargill looks good in this TV show because I can't wait to have that conversation. I really, really can't. Because I think it's one that needs to be had, one that's been not had for a long time, and we've constantly been blaming wrestlers for the way that they're apparently bad on the mic or bad at character work, when in reality, it's not them. It's not them. It's the companies. But hey, speaking of companies, though, let's go ahead and talk about ROH and TNA. Who's more likely to flourish in 2026? Because I believe both of these companies are in the exact same spot right now, trying to reclaim past glory. And for both of them, it's kind of hard right now. I think for TNA, what's really hurting them is that they're not used to being number 3. They're not used to being number 3. I think they, for the longest time, have been number 2. For the longest time, have been number 2 in America, at least. I thought New Japan was above them for a good amount of time. But for the longest time, though, they've been number 2. Heck, actually, let's stay there with New Japan for a second. Because that's really where TNA started kind of crumbling, is that when New Japan hit their high, so 2013, 2014, when they hit their high, and it was starting to become clear that their high was going to be hit, you can even say before that, I think that's when TNA really started crumbling because they weren't used to being that number 3. And then what happened? New Japan just boomed, and over the next 7-8 years, TNA fell the heck off. And then I think for ROH, it's just been about not being able to find anybody to go from you to the majors. Because before, it was Bryan Danielson, Samoa Joe, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and a few others that you had to go there that found themselves again, or were not found themselves again because Seth Rollins was, not finding himself. And then, anyways, that were able to find themselves and be able to become something. I think ROH is slowly getting back to that. We've seen Athena go there, and she found herself, and she looked amazing. And I think it's kind of always been ROH, the place to go to find yourself, become amazing, and then go up to the majors, go up to the top 2 or top 3, whether it be AEW, WWE, or a TNA, or New Japan at the time, whenever they were at their 3. I think for ROH, they're kind of slowly getting back there. Because like I said, you got Athena, who went there and has looked amazing. She looked like one of the greatest women wrestlers of all dang time. Bandito is kind of finding himself again after the injury and stuff like that. And you have a lot of talent on both sides. For the women's side of things on ROH, you have Billy Starks, Isla Dawn, Story Denali, Red Velvet, Deonna Purrazzo. Oh, Deonna Purrazzo, somebody also found herself too. And on the men's side, you have Bandito, Commander, Nick Wayne, Blake Christian, Lee Johnson, Lee Moriarty, and STP. I think there's a lot there to be excited about. Some of them are a bit older, but I think for the most part, there's a lot there to be excited about, especially Billy Starks. There's a lot to be excited about with her. That woman is awesome. I think when she really gets her chance, she's going to boom. She is going to boom in ROH. I think she's going to be able to be somebody that could even run ROH. Isla Dawn's going to be an interesting one because I think that she has a lot of great talent in the wrong areas for ROH. I think in ring, she's pretty cool. She's kind of pretty cool, but I don't really see it much there. I think the character work-wise is where she really shines, which is why I think she wanted to be in WWE, because I think that's where she would have flourished the most at. Sadly, they broke up Unholy Union for literally no reason at all. Story Denali is an interesting one because very, very tall woman. Very, very tall woman. Got a really damn good choke slam. It's going to be interesting with her because she's a giant, a powerhouse. We see how they did Jade. Megan looks a lot better, but it's still TBD with Megan Bain. We got to see how now she looks at the Death Riders. Story Denali is with, I forgot their names. She's with Arya Davaria, though, and then with that freaking, like, star top group. I don't know what they're called. She looks interesting, to say the least. There, I think she's in the wrong group, though. I think she probably should be by herself or have a manager, one of the two. So you're just not going to move, huh? Little random break in the podcast. I kind of, was messing with the microphone, as y'all saw, and I accidentally unplugged something, and the whole program with the crap and all that stuff. I had to upload it, and then I had to restart the thing and all that. It's a really annoying process. But I was talking about Story Denali, though. I forgot exactly where I was at, but what I do know is that I was talking about her being in this wonky group and all that. They just don't look strong right now, and I don't think that group's ever going to get over. For Story Denali, I think to really hit the scene and become a big thing that we talk about, one, the AEW, the ROH Women's World title has to get off of Athena. I think it's just, she looks way too dominant. Anybody else in ROH, like even on the men's side, is just not going to be able to look as dominant because I feel like she's just too dominant. 1,000+ days now. So I think once she drops the title to Billie Starkz, the woman that takes the belt off of her should be Story Denali. Now, whether that's before or after she gets any other belts is TBD. But she should. Oh, I forgot to talk about that as well. I'll talk about it afterwards, actually. Never mind. Story Denali should get the belt off of. I was talking about AEW Women's Division. Story Denali should be the one to dethrone Billie Starkz. I think with how much bigger she is than Billie Starkz, it's just going to be very believable that eventually she would want to go after the top belt, seeing as how she's a powerhouse. And why would you not, as a powerhouse, want all the power in ROH? So I think she could be really good for them if they are able to get her over. I know her mic work is still fairly cool. So maybe having a manager with her would be a great thing. But I think, though, for right now, I think she needs to break away from this group. Red Velvet is awesome. I think she is amazing, fantastic, super damn good. I can't wait to see her go against Mercedes because that's going to be a really, really fun match to watch. From here, I don't know where she goes, whether it is up to AEW or it is just staying in ROH and maybe kind of collecting more belts. Maybe she'll kind of just be like an ROH woman like her whole career. Who the heck knows? But I think she adds a lot of flair to the roster, and I think she adds just so much in that women's division that I don't know if I would take her away anytime soon because she's really dang good. Deonna Purrazzo, they got to do something with her, man. She's way too talented to kind of just be stuck doing really nothing. I thought she was going to be in the tag title tournament. Sadly, she's not. Bandito's not going to be there forever, obviously. I think this probably will end up being his last year. He likely drops the belt soon to somebody. I just don't know who on that roster. I would drop it to Lee Moriarty personally, but he got to drop that Pure title first. And I think it's way past time. He's got to drop that belt and go get the ROH World title. Nick Wayne could also be a guy to get to it as well, though, but he has a TV title, so it depends on how he drops it. Blake Christian and Lee Johnson, they're really, really athletic. I think both are pretty good on the mic. I think they have something there, but probably about another year or so. But they at least offer something of intrigue. And STB is really good. Sadly, it's just all of them are like in like their 40s, so they're not really going to be able to give you much for like an extended period of time. But I think they can still be a really good tag team over time. And then for TNA is in a weird place because you have Indy Hartwell in a contract year, Mara Sade in a contract year, Kalani Jordan is not a part of TNA, Danny Luna, they don't use at all in the slightest, and the Inspiration, I think, just re-signed. So the women's side of things is weird because you don't really have any homegrown women that you're really kind of like pushing. You're mainly just pushing all the ex-WWE women, and it's like, okay, I get it. You know, you want to be able to get bigger and bigger, and you're hoping that will get you that TV deal, so eventually you can push your homegrown talent. Problem is, you're not really doing much with your homegrown talent. Like, even when AEW was using a lot of the ex-WWE wrestlers, they were still pushing their guys. They were pushing Hangman. They were pushing the Young Bucks. They were pushing Omega. They were pushing Shane Taylor. Oh wait, not Shane Taylor. Scorpio Sky. They started pushing Hook. They were pushing trying to think of who else the hell they were pushing. And I know Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and them aren't technically their guys, because like obviously ROH and New Japan and all that. But like they were still kind of pushing some of their talent that was at least lesser known, or were their guys in the sense of like they were just 100% in on AEW. And then over time they started pushing more and more. But it's like TNA, they're not really doing that with their women though. And I think that's where it really differs with TNA's women division. They were pushing their own women. They didn't really like they had some ex-WWE women eventually in like Toni Storm and Saraya and Ruby Soho, but they were pushing Jamie Hayter. They were pushing Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, Riho, Nyla Rose. I'm blanking on somebody's name, but there's somebody else there that they were pushing as well. Eventually pushed Willow Nightingale, Julia Hart. I really am blanking on this woman's name. I can't think who I'm thinking of right now. Hikaru Shida. And again, I know these aren't like their talents. Some of these women came from other places. But for the most part, it is their talent. TNA is just pushing ex-WWE women. Like, they're not pushing any other women who come from other companies that they've gotten. They're just pushing them. So it's like, that kind of goes into that whole WWE thing. And on the men's side, every person here that I'm about to name is either having no contract, either has no contract, is about to have no contract, or 2026 their last year. Leon Slater, 2026 contract year. Steve Macklin, 2026 contract year, unless he re-signed. I think he might have re-signed. But I seen a contract thing. I don't know if that was him re-signing or not, though, because when I read it, it didn't give me much information on it. Then I seen Fightful posted something, but they just said, like, Steve Macklin contract, and I couldn't find any kind of links because Fightful wasn't working that day, apparently. I don't know. Nick Nemeth, though, his contract is ending this year. Mike Santana, his contract ends in December. Trey Miguel, no contract. Zachary Wentz, no contract. Myron Reed, no contract, has never been contracted by them. Joe Hendry, contract's about to end in like a month or two. Mustafa Ali, I think his contract just ended or ends in a month or two. Cedric Alexander, no contract anymore. And then the Hardys, their contract's about to end. So most of their like male wrestlers, they don't even have signed for that long, or they're all about to be gone. So it's like, on their side of things, it's hard to be more inspired by what could come because they don't really have anything for me to be assured of. Like Joe Hendry, he's going to NXT. He's going to NXT. Hardy's likely going to WWE. Mustafa, they better hope they can keep him because I think WWE really wants him. Leon Slater, you know damn well WWE want him. They 100% want him. Mara, I think WWE might want her back, but I'm pretty sure she might stay at TNA. Indy, probably same thing, but I heard that she would also love to go back to WWE at some point in time. Kalani, like I said, she's not even TNA. She's literally just NXT. Danny Luna, yeah, no. Nick Nemeth, I think he's probably TNA now. I think he's probably good off going back to WWE. Mike Santana is going to be an interesting one. I don't know if he will be full on board with TNA after giving him the TNA world title or not. That's going to be interesting. Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz is going to be interesting with them as well because they're both former X Division champions. But like, is TNA going to use them anymore? I mean, they're both young still. They're both like in their early 30s. I think the older one, I think Trey is the older one at like 31 or 32. But I know they're both like 30 to 32, somewhere around there. Myron Reed is still really young as well. They never even signed him. So it's like, at least with ROH, a lot of them are signed. With TNA, there's nothing there for me to be hopeful of because you don't have any of your wrestlers signed, and now they're on break. Which, mind you, I'm not even mad about being on a break. I think the thought of a break is a really great idea. But it's like, you just put the world title on Mike Santana, and then you go on break? So you mean when he is super dang hot, you're gonna go on break and just cool him off completely? Really? Okay, that don't make any sense. And yeah, I Leon Slater's super hot right now after Bound for Glory, and you just cool him off? And you allow him to go to NXT and go wrestle over there? Really? All right. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so hard to be so sure about them because, like, there's a possibility they could get a TV deal because they're talking about possibly getting a TV deal. There's the reports that came out and all that. But it's like, are we sure about that? Like, are we sure? Because if a lot of these wrestlers either don't re-sign or leave, they ain't getting no damn TV deal. No. I'll be real with you. If ROH could not get a TV deal with Athena as the champion, one of the best women wrestlers on the planet, no. If they can't get one right now with Bandito, as hot as he is, no. Mercedes is now going to be there, the ROH interim TV champion, likely going to end up being the TV champion. If they can't get one, then, child, what the hell makes me think the TNA going to get one? So I think, but to be fair though, I don't think ROH is going to get one anytime soon either. So neither one of them are going to get a TV deal anytime soon. So now it's just about who's going to look better in 2025. For ROH, it's weird because a lot of their top wrestlers, Nick Wayne, is literally AEW. He barely even be in ROH. Bandito, he's basically AEW. He barely be in ROH. Commander, he mainly be in CMLL. Mascara Dorado is another guy, basically be in CMLL. And then you got Sammy Guevara, who comes with a whole lot of baggage. So it's like, it's hard with LFI because there's a lot of people who don't really just want to see Sammy Guevara on their TV. I'll be real with you. Every time he come on my screen, I turn that TV off immediately. I don't even watch it. So I don't even watch the matches that other wrestlers are in with him, which that hurts them. So it's like, it's interesting. It's interesting there. And then on the women's side of things, Billie Starkz is there a lot in ROH. Isla Dawn, she's not, I don't think she's contracted, but I know that, I don't know if she's contracted actually. I couldn't find anything, but she's been on ROH a lot as of recent. So she could be a freelancer. But if she's going to primarily be on ROH, and I'll kind of do her like how I would say Sarie, where I call Sarie a stardom wrestler, even though she is a freelancer. So I kind of see that in the same boat. Red Velvet's going to be an interesting one if she ends up staying in ROH or not. So it's like, ROH has a lot of wrestlers that are in AEW, or a lot of their big wrestlers are going to be in AEW. That's why I didn't even write down Athena. Only reason I wrote down Bandito is because at least he wrestles in ROH a lot. Athena, the last time she wrestled in ROH as a singles wrestler was in 2024. So I wasn't even going to write her down. For TNA, it's like, you got a lot there, but I don't know who's even coming back. So let's just live in this world that Leon Slater, Steve Maclin are there for all 2026. And let's say Nick Nimitz stays there. Let's say Mike Santana stays there. And let's say Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz, they leave. Myron Reed continues to be a freelancer. Maybe they even be freelancers as well. So they go to TNA every once in a while. Joe Hendry leaves. And let's say Mustafa leaves too. Let's just live in that world that Mustafa leaves too, and he goes to WWE. They're going to be in as bad of a position, I think, as ROH. But they're also going to be in as good of a position as ROH. Because I think, at least for the time being, most of like the world champions, besides probably the women's world champion, because I do think Billie Starkz gets that off of Athena. I think most of the world champions though, for both companies, are going to be either their super top person, or it's mainly going to be someone from like WWE or AEW. So I think the person that beats Bandito could likely be somebody from AEW. I think the person that beats Mike Santana could likely be someone from WWE. I think for the women's title, it's either going to be Indy Hartwell or it's going to be somebody from NXT. So I think both are going to be kind of good in terms of having like a star. I don't know. It's going to be weird with both of these companies going forward. I'm going to say only because there's more contracts there with ROH. I think a lot more people are going. I think ROH will flourish more because another thing with ROH that I forgot to mention is that a lot of the wrestlers that are contracted to ROH are also contracted to AEW. So people don't mind going to ROH because they know they'll likely end up on AEW TV. With TNA, if you get contracted to TNA, maybe you end up on NXT. Like you're going to end up on NXT TV most likely, but you're not going to end up on WWE TV. The only person that ended up on WWE TV from TNA is Joe Hendry. Maybe Matt Cardona does. Maybe Nick Nimitz does with this John Cena tournament. That's it. That's literally it. So you're not really gaining much if you go to TNA as you would if you're going to ROH. So I can't really have like as much faith in people wanting to go to TNA as I would people going to ROH, especially with the amount of people who have gone to ROH over this past year compared to TNA. Like, we've seen a lot of the ex-WWE talent going to ROH. You do see some of them going to TNA as well. Again, Indy, Mara, I can't count Kalani because she's literally signed. You got some of the bigger dude names there too, like Mustafa, Nick Nemeth, and somebody else went there as of recent. I can't remember his name though. It was somebody else that went from WWE to TNA, and they were a pretty big name. But that was like 2-3 years ago with Nick Nemeth, and I think last year. Oh, Cedric, duh. But it's like you're also losing a lot of top people too. So yeah, but you got like Lacey Lane going to, is that her name? Yeah, Kaden Carter, Isla Dawn going there too. A lot of people thought that Isla Dawn was gonna go to TNA to be able to team with either Rosemary or probably just be a singles wrestler, most likely. Especially like the whole character dynamic and all that stuff with her. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna say ROH is more likely to flourish as itself. I think TNA will have more exposure because they'll be able to be with the NXT and stuff like that and do all the NXT PLEs and all that. But I think ROH will look better week to week than TNA will look better week to week. That's what I would say. Now, speaking of AEW, we gotta talk about this woman's division, y'all. Because this woman's division is getting held the hell back. I'm sorry, it's getting screwed over. So we have the whole Blood and Guts situation, where Blood and Guts gets announced for the women, but it's not like officially announced or anything like that. You got Jamie Hayter saying Blood and Guts, and it's like 5 women total. We don't even have a whole team here. The men get their thing announced, and it's like all team. It's both sides. Conglomeration, Death Riders. But for the men, but for the women, you got Jamie Hayter and Queen Aminata in the ring, and then you got Triangle of Madness outside of the ring. Now, we could all assume and use our brains and say Megan Bay, Penelope Ford, probably Willow and Harley. Like, that's what I thought it was going to be. And then they have Willow Harley, but we don't add them to this at all. Like, we don't see any of this coming together. We don't see Megan Bay and Penelope Ford going after them either. Because why? We get the tag title or the tag title tournament announced. So, okay, we're doing this at the exact same time that we should be building Blood and Guts. Okay. Even though the tag titles got announced in like end of September, and you could have done it around that time. No. Okay. I guess not. I mean, that doesn't make any sense, right? No. I mean, you could have announced it before All In, but that doesn't make any sense either. No, you were building up your women's tag division all the way back in like April, May, but you didn't think about having like the tag belts get introduced then, even though you've had them since the beginning of the year. No. So now you have your women's tag tournament going on at the exact same time as your Blood and Guts stuff. You don't think you're oversaturating your fan base? And they're really confused on what they should be focused on, whether it's the women's tag tournament or Blood and Guts? You don't think so? You wouldn't have the Owen Hart Cup tournament and the freaking Continental Classic at the exact same time with participants in both of them. You know, like the same participant in both of them. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't have Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, and Hangman in the Continental Classic while also having them in the freaking Owen Hart Cup tournament. No. You wouldn't do that. It wouldn't make any sense. So why would you have Blood and Guts get announced, and then like a couple weeks later, no wait, you have the women's tag titles get announced, you wait 3 weeks to even have a freaking tag team women's match, while at the exact same time in those 3 weeks, you announce women's Blood and Guts. You see how fucking stupid that sounds? Tony Khan, I'm specifically talking to you, you dingus bobingus. Mind you, the exact same time you're also trying to build up Mercedes and Chris Statlander. You can't make this up. Mind y'all, I came on this podcast a few months ago, told y'all a perfect story about how to get the women's tag titles at All In. I look back at that story. It's fucking golden. Golden. Compared to this mess. Look, I don't really like being like this overly cocky person. I honestly truly don't. Or like, no. Cocky as hell. I don't like being braggadocious. I don't like doing that. But sometimes I gotta toot my own horn. I'm gonna toot my own horn. Toot, toot. For those of y'all there on Spotify, I didn't get to see it. I tooted out my ass. But that was a great ass story, y'all. I'm looking back at it like, bro, hey man, you know what? That was low key cooking. 6-woman tag match. No, wait. 3 teams, tag match, tag titles in a briefcase that nobody even knows that they're going to be getting unveiled. Not even the wrestlers. You told me it's going to be a freaking $500K match. They go up there, climb the ladder. They pull the dang thing off the ladder, and it's a tag titles inside of it. They open it up. No, my bad. They don't open it up yet. Renee Paquette comes out and tells them, so how do you feel about getting your $500K? What do you plan to do with this? And then tells them, you know what? Actually, can we make sure there's $500K in there? Can we actually check to see if there's $500,000 in there? Then they open them up. It's a tag titles. Everyone's like, whoa! Everyone's going crazy. The women in the ring are crying because they didn't even know that was going to happen. You know how freaking awesome that would be? But no, can't have too many women's matches at a freaking pay-per-view, right, Tony Khan? Right, Tony Khan? Can't have too many women's matches at a pay-per-view. Can't have too many women's first at a pay-per-view. You couldn't have the women's casino gauntlet and the women's tag titles. That would be crazy. That would be asinine. That would be rambunctiously stupid. Or maybe it'd be freaking smart. Maybe it'd be freaking smart, Tony Khan. Could have put him on the pre-show. So they have that dumbass, what was it? Sons of Texas match versus STP. No? You just don't think of these things, huh, Tony Khan? No, huh? Nah, you just think real stupid when it comes to the women. This man's stupid as hell when it comes to women wrestling. I promise y'all right now. Like, this is why I never understand why people say that, like, I'm so AEW Mark. I barely even like Tony Khan because the way he treats the women wrestlers. I'm like so for real with y'all. I'm so for real. He's not a good businessman at all. He's like the second best booker, but to be fair, that's not really saying much when a lot of these bookers are kind of looking horrible this year. So yeah, but yeah, no. But here's the women's blood and guts teams: Triangle of Madness. So Julia Hart, Sky Blue, Tekla, Mercedes Moné, Megan Bayne, and Marina Shafir. How the hell Marina Shafir got added into this damn thing, I have no clue in the slightest. I mean, I can tell you her connection with Chris Statlander, who, mind you, by the way, the other team is Queen Aminata, Jamie Hayter, Harley Cameron, Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander, Toni Storm, and Mina Shirakawa. I'm so for real. The only ones that needed to be here: Triangle of Madness, Megan Bayne, so that's 4, Queen Aminata, Jamie Hayter, Harley Cameron, Willow Nightingale, and Chris Statlander because she was already a part of the storyline. So if you want to have Mercedes here, I guess fine. But Marina, Tony, and Mina did not need to be here. They did not need to be here at all. No. Aminata, Hayter, Harley, Willow, Chris. That's 5. Wait. Aminata, Hayter, Harley, Willow, Chris, Tony, Mina. Wait a minute. Am I stupid? Aminata, 1. Hayter, 2. Harley, 3. Willow, 4. Chris, 5. Tony, 6. Mina, 7. Wait. Hold on. Because this is supposed to be 6 on 6. Who the hell's not in this? Who's not in this damn match? Wait, what? Wait. No, because that's what the picture said. Women's blood and guts match. It's Tony, Aminata, Jamie. Oh, Mina's not in it. Oh, I'm stupid. Okay, my bad. So then why the hell is Toni Storm here? Wait, what? Oh my God, they're going to have Mina and Athena get involved. Okay, that's already for sure. Then why the hell is Toni Storm here? Because, okay, wait, hold on. So, Queen Aminata, Jamie Hayter go to Sisters of Sin. Harley and Willow go to Sisters of Sin as well. They also go to Megan Bayne. Okay, so they all mess with each other. Chris Statlander goes to them as well, but also goes to Mercedes. So what the hell is Toni Storm here for? Just Mercedes and the Sisters of Sin? Like, okay, I understand Toni Storm being here because the story... I went on this whole rant thinking that Mina Shirakawa was in this match because I seen Mina Shirakawa in this match. What the hell? So Tony's just in this match for no reason. For literally no reason. You could have grabbed somebody that paired with Marina Shafir. Oh my gosh. Because you would have Mercedes to Chris. You could have Willow to Megan. Harley to anyone. Harley, Aminata, Hayter to the Triangle of Madness. There we go. Boom. That just easy does that. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Or if you want to, I guess Willow to Marina and just find somebody to go to Megan. Which could have been Anna Jay. Or Ty Mello. Literally either one of the two that have been feuding with her the entire time. Both of y'all, please leave AEW. Please leave AEW. This company don't give two shits about either one of y'all. Oh my God. That's actually so sick. That's actually so sick. Your longest tag team that you ever had. They've been around since the beginning. They were in the original tag team women's tournament. They won't be in this women's blood and guts match, but Toni Storm will be. Even though she does not need to be here at all. Like, she literally does not need to be here in the slightest. What the Wow. Wow. Anna Jay or Ty Mello or both. Please leave, sweeties. Please leave. Oh my God. This company hates y'all. I'm not even trying to laugh at them. This company hates them. Tony doesn't need to be in the match. Oh my God, the match is not selling tickets. Well, how about you freaking book it better, buddy? How about you do that? How the hell do you not have Anna or Ty here when they've had probably more they've had the most history with Megan Bayne? They've had mad tag matches against her and Penelope Ford. I'd be Ryan Tony Khan's office ripping my contract up. So why is Toni Storm here? Why is she here? All right. I've been this podcast is gonna be a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I'm officially getting on my Toni Storm hate train. I'm starting to train up. Chugga chugga choo choo. She overbooked as hell. She does not need to be here in the slightest. Not the hate train. Not the hate train. We ain't gonna hate on Toni Storm. The overbooked train. She does not need to be in this match. She does not. I don't care if she's a superstar, dude. You have Mercedes there for this. Mercedes is a draw. A much bigger draw than Tony, by the way. Literally. The facts prove it, by the way. This is not no fiction. This is all facts. Mercedes is a way bigger draw than Toni Storm. She did not need to be here. You could have had Anna Jay or Ty Mello here, one of the two. One of the two. Doesn't matter which one you pick. They both have had history. Honestly, I'd pick Anna Jay because she got her ass ran all up and down that goddamn ramp by Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. She should have won the most get back. Oh, wait, let me guess. They're going to probably get involved in the match, huh? Or you're going to have Mina and Athena get involved in this match. That's what you're probably going to do, huh? You're not going to have Anna Jay and Ty Mello be involved in this at all. Look at, man, I know there's like a lot of AEW fans that don't really care for Anna Jay and Ty Mello because they're not the world's renowned wrestlers that AEW fans want them. How about you put your fucking AEW stand cup down for a second and just realize that two women are getting horribly screwed over by Tony Khan because he simply does not see any kind of value in them in the slightest? If he doesn't, then release them. Let them go to WWE. I hate trying to be pushing this whole release thing, but I said it with Alba Fire as well. If WWE doesn't value Alba Fire, release her. Let her go somewhere where she's gonna flourish. You did it with Wes Lee. Let him flourish. Now he's able to flourish somewhere. Do it with Anna Jay and Ty Mello, Tony Khan, because you don't give a fuck about these two women. You really, really don't. This goes back to my whole AEW women's division is being held back. Bad booking. 6 years and no women have main evented a pay-per-view. This thing literally started during the women's movement. Progressive ass company though, right? Women still only get one match. Maybe two if they're lucky. But those two likely only happen on Collision. The B show, the show you made for CM Punk. The guy you don't even like that much anymore. Stories have much less depth than the men. The only one that really had any kind of depth was Tony and Mariah. Go look at Mercedes and Tony that easily could have main evented All In. No, it had to be Hangman and Moxley though, right? Because the men's world title means much more than the women's world title does. Way less time in matches and promos than the men. Way less time. Mind you, your women are the biggest draws in the company. Mercedes is still the biggest draw in AEW. This is not even Mercedes Glaze. She's literally the biggest draw in the company. Tony's a bigger draw than Hangman. Hi, Hangman. I really like you. You're really cool, by the way. Tony's a bigger draw than Swerve Strickland. Swerve, that theme song sucks, but hi, Swerve. Tony and Mercedes are bigger draws. Oh, by the way, bigger draws, Mercedes as well. Tony and Mercedes are bigger draws than Will Ospreay. Hey, Will Ospreay, hope you recover well from that injury. Don't come back too fast, buddy. We don't need to come back too fast. Really like you, by the way. Tony and Mercedes are bigger draws than John Moxley. What's up, Moxley? Hope you're not killing anybody today. And no bleeding as well. How is this man bleeding going out to the dang ring to watch a women's tag match, by the way? This guy Moxley, man. Damn, he just can't stop bleeding. Goodness gracious. This is how the women get treated. Mind you, Tony Storm saved AEW in 2024. Tony and Swerve, but a lot more Tony. A lot more Tony than Swerve. And again, hi Swerve. Really like you. Really cool wrestler. Tony time. It was Tony time. This is sick. This is sick. This man's treatment of women wrestlers is fucking disgusting. Is Ash surprised by this? Hell no, I'm not. Hell no, I'm not. And that's as much as I'm gonna say, because I don't feel like hearing anybody bitch complain about any kind of nothing. Will they or won't they? Will Tony Khan ever give a fuck about his women wrestlers? No. Will Dragon Lee and AJ Styles fix Raw's tag division though? This is gonna be an interesting one because obviously you could do a lot of open challenges here. I think you could do a lot of open challenges with this team. We've seen what it did for the U.S. title for both Sami Zayn and now Ilya Dragunov, as well as John Cena in the past. And there's a lot of tag teams that they can go up against there. Swipe Right, Adrenaline Drip, even though they may not be ready for the main roster for like a consistent main roster push, or well, just being on the main roster in general. I think having like a one-time match with AJ Styles and Dragon Lee is going to do a lot for them, especially being in the ring with AJ Styles. He's somebody that can really control the ring, be able to keep them cool and not have them doing way too much than they should be doing, be able to show them off enough, make them look really great. Also probably a dream match for them to be able to be in the ring with AJ Styles as well. You have the War Raiders. I guess OTM are also on main event a lot too, so there's some guys you could push to the main roster as well for like these one-time matches against them. Judgment Day, New Day, the Bronze, if you want to put them in a tag team. You have the Usos there as well if you really want to run that at some point in time. So you have a lot of tag teams there to be able to do this open challenge with that I think you definitely should do it. And I feel like if they did do it, this could easily fix the Raw tag division because we're going to be able to see the Creeds as well. We're going to be able to see all of this great tag wrestling. Because AJ Styles, awesome in the ring. Dragon Lee, awesome in the ring. These guys together look pretty dang good. And I think that they'd be able to have a lot of great tag matches with other teams, which will only make them look like a much better tag team as well, because they're going to get in more tag team experience. I think what it also would do too is it's really going to be able to make this whole possible last year AJ Styles thing look a lot better, because it's like, okay, we might not want this guy in the tag division with Dragon Lee. Like, no offense to Dragon Lee, but like really odd team, no real like reasoning other than like they're both feuding with the Starbucks orders, which why is AJ Styles even feuding with the Starbucks orders to begin with? Obviously Dominic Mysterio, but like you get what I mean. But like it would make it look a lot better, because you're saying that AJ Styles is going to fix things, that he's going to play an intricate part in fixing the Raw tag division for possibly months to maybe even years to come. And we can look back and say the guy that did that was the guy that was on the way out in AJ Styles. I think that'd be a really good use of his last year, especially because then it'd be like he doesn't have to hold the belts for a long time. Because I guarantee you, if they don't do an open challenge, they're likely going to be holding these belts for months upon months, probably even going in like past the Rumble. So it's like, well, okay, what does AJ do at Mania now? This is the tag match. Like, this is going to be his last Mania. Should his last Mania really be a tag match? No, I want to see AJ versus Finn. I think it's what we all want to see. We all want to see that happen one more time. We want to see AJ having important matches, important singles matches that could either put over a talent or be able to just have awesome match against somebody. And so we can also, kind of not have to remember his last Mania was Logan Paul. Because as a tag team, there's a very real possibility the Raw tag team belts might miss Mania. So I think it would do a lot of wonders for AJ's end of his career, while also being able to help the tag division out. I say if they do an open challenge, it will 100% fix the tag division. But speaking of divisions, though, will Ricochet win an AEW World title? Not the Unified title, not the TNT title, not the tag titles, not the trios titles. Will Ricochet win an AEW World title? I made a video on this the other day, and I 100% believe that Ricochet will win a world title by the end of this year. I think he's going to be the guy to dethrone Hangman. I thought about it for a while and thought it could possibly be MJF. I think the thing with MJF is that he might not be back until next year, and I don't know how much longer you want Hangman holding this belt for, because after the Samoa Joe stuff, he's not really going to have anybody else to go after. And so it's like, if you can have Hangman drop it to Ricochet, you could potentially have it go from Ricochet to Bobby or Shelton, whoever you want to do, in like 3-4 months. It doesn't need to be on him that long. Just a few months to be able to recognize the talent that he is and recognize the talent that he's, become in AEW and the growth that he's had as a character and all that stuff as a mic worker. And then you drop it to one of those two. From there, you could go into an MJF feud. MJF returns and he's got his contract still. And now you're starting to run back a lot of that Hurt Syndicate stuff, and you have like a proper closure to this, where we could possibly see MVP turn on the Hurt Syndicate and he aligns with MJF. We could see that. Or we could see, MJF, which I think you probably have to do that. I think you probably have to do that if you are going to run MJF versus either Bobby or Shelton. I think if MJF is going to get the belt off them, it needs to be because they get betrayed, so that you can at least protect them, because MJF's a big dude, but Bobby Lashley's a much bigger dude, and Shelton Benjamin's a freak of nature, apparently in more ways than one, by the way. I guess shout out to you, Shelton Benjamin. I don't know. Shout out to Maven as well, I guess, for telling the story. Some more women hit up Shelton Benjamin. I don't know, man. But I think like it would do a great way of protecting them, while also if they lose it early, like it would make even more sense why. And then you can continue that whole entire thing too. So that'd be pretty cool as well. So I think Ricochet should be the guy to get it off of them. I don't think Ricochet needs to get it. I don't think MJF needs to get it off of Hangman by any means. I think Ricochet getting it just for a little bit, dropping it, and then eventually getting other belts, that's gonna be pretty cool. And I think like it would just do Ricochet some wonders, because not many guys from like that black and gold era, which by the way, I count the black and gold era as like 2017 to 2021, somewhere around there. I don't count anything before 2017. I personally don't. I know it kind of is black and gold too, because like they're still, black and gold. But I think like black and gold really got like that moniker around 2017, 2018. And there's not many guys from that time period that really did win world titles that were like, towards the top of NXT around that time. I think it's really only Swerve, Ember, Athena, Asuka. Like, most of them are like on like the women's side. The men's side, most of those dudes did not do much, whether it be Aleister Black, Andrade, Ricochet, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. And that's not saying like the women got to get like, you know, thrown to the side and all that stuff. I'm saying more like a lot of those superstar dudes did not get what they deserve, which sucks. Santos was more 2.0. Yeah, he was more 2.0. But a lot of those dudes did not get what they deserve at all in the slightest. Finn Balor, you can kind of say, Samoa Joe did. Finn Balor, you can kind of say he did, but Sami Zayn kind of there too. But like Kevin Owens is already gone at that time. And so was Sammy. So yeah, never mind. And Samoa Joe, no, he went back. But like he went back though. It's like same thing with Finn Balor. They went back. Now Samoa Joe didn't get his in WWE. You guys in AEW, so it's a little different. But like a lot of those dudes did not get there. So I would love to see Ricochet be one of the guys that gets his. Speaking of getting theirs though. Or I guess. Oh wait, I have two topics. I forgot about that. Speaking of NXT then. There we go. Boom. Booyah. Transitions and all that stuff. Will NXT ever be recognized as a third official brand next to Raw and SmackDown? Now, we've been having this back and forth conversation for a while now when it comes to the NXT, if it truly is a developmental brand, if it is, or if it does have world titles in the NXT men's and women's championships. Should we call these world titles? They've been defended around the world at the top belt of a company. I think they should be. I think the developmental moniker needs to be dropped, especially now that you have Evolve, which is the new developmental brand. It looks like a true developmental brand as opposed to NXT, which, what are you developing? Blake Monroe, Ethan Page, like Ricky Saints. Like a lot of these talents here are like former world champions or former champions in other companies. Like I wouldn't really call that developing by any means. I think NXT's kind of gotten away with the whole developmental term for a long time now. I don't think that they're developing. I think that they're just, I mean, they're helping them in a sense, but like you can go to Raw and SmackDown and do that exact same thing. So it's like, I think with Evolve and then now Triple I and potentially even TNA as well, if it does get bought out by WWE, I could see a world where they have to consider NXT as a third brand. Maybe they consider TNA as a third brand instead, though, if they buy that out, and then NXT continues to be developmental, but you can't have two developmental brands. There's no way that we're calling Evolve and NXT a developmental brand. We can't do that. And then Triple I is going to be an interesting one because by the end of this year, it's officially WWE. So I think like the last month, or I think going into 2026, I think like maybe like the last day, it'll be like still Triple I, and then January 1st, it would be officially WWE's, which I think then they might start calling it NXT Mexico, because we did hear all those reports, which is crazy to think about, because you're going to call it the NXT Mexico Mega Championship, or you're going to take the Mega off, and what are we doing there? So it's like, with all of that, I feel like NXT would have to get recognized as a third brand. Either them or TNA. One of the two. But I think, like, let's just live in the world they don't get TNA. Because they would still at least have a partnership with it. Same as Noah. Like, you got a lot of partnerships going around with two pretty big companies. And then you have the buyout of Triple I, and you got Evolve. I don't think NXT can be recognized as like a developmental brand anymore. I think if you recognize it as a third brand, and you really, really push it like the same way you push Raw and SmackDown, I think like you could have a lot more leverage with a lot of wrestlers and be able to move them over to NXT. And so that you're able to like obviously consider that to be like a top championship. And now it's like it's not looked at as lesser if you're in NXT in a sense. Which I don't think it should be looked at as lesser, because it basically is the third brand to Raw and SmackDown. But like, and like, I guess to kind of like explain what that means, I should have probably explained this earlier. But like, there was a point in time where we said NXT was number 3. Like, it was not the developmental. It was like around 2018, 2019. Again, that's when I call Black and Gold era. Like the 2017 to 2019 when we really started calling that the third major brand, not a minor brand to Raw and SmackDown. I'm saying that now I think it should be considered that third major brand, and it should not be considered the minor leagues by any means, especially because you are sending a lot of your WWID athletes and a lot of the new wrestlers you pick up from like the colleges and stuff like that aren't part of the ID program, but like the ones you just randomly pick up. You're sending them to evolve, to be able to develop. Now, what do you send them to NXT to develop even further? I mean, I guess, but don't you go to Raw and develop further as well? Because a lot of them develop on Raw and SmackDown in their rookie year and their sophomore years. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it should be considered a third major brand, though. I think we should officially call the NXT Men's and Women's Championships world titles, which is then going to get really interesting when we start talking about people in like having world titles, because now Aleister would have a world title. Ricochet would have Ricochet would not have a world title, but Aleister would, Andrade would, Tommaso Ciampa would, Johnny Gargano would, a lot of people, Shinsuke would, so a lot of people would have world titles now. Or you're gonna have the people that say, well, it wasn't a world title then. No, it was a world title then. We're not doing this BS. So I'm gonna say for this one, yeah, I think NXT will eventually get recognized as a third major brand next to Raw and SmackDown, especially with the buyout, with the possible buyout of TNA, with the confirmed buyout of Triple III, with the partnership with Noah and with Evolve as well. I think it just makes so much sense. I think it just makes so much sense for it to get recognized as a third major brand, especially with how great it's been over these past few years. It's been absolutely awesome. It's been really better than both Raw and SmackDown, in my opinion. At times, it looks a little worse, but for the most part, I think it's been like just kind of better, in my opinion. But for the most part, it's just been basically better. I think eventually it will get recognized as a third major brand. Now, I was going to say, talking about Ricochet, who's a cruiserweight, but anyways, I'll still go here talking about Ricochet. Will AEW make a cruiserweight division? Potentially with AEW Velocity, because that was the show that they were talking about, and I do think Velocity, Speed, all that stuff. I think that was going to be like their cruiserweight show. I don't think it was going to be like WWE Speed where it's like 3 to 5 minute match or anything like that. I think that they were going to do a cruiserweight show, and they have over 20 wrestlers, like male wrestlers. I didn't count the women wrestlers because I think for the cruiserweight division, they never had like a women's wrestling one because I think most of the women would be considered cruiserweights to begin with. And you might start getting into like weird slippery slopes with the women. You get like super dang skinny where it's like, it gets into like a really weird slippery slope, especially like women and like their bodies and all that stuff. We don't need to be talking about women's bodies like and all that. But you have over 20 male wrestlers who could be considered cruisers. Some of the big names, Ace Austin, which I did not know he was only like 190, 200 pounds. I thought he was like, okay, I only thought he was a lot more because his quads. I'm going to be real with you. I thought most of the weight was in the quads. Ace Austin, Ricochet, Buddy Matthews, Adam Cole, Pac, AR Fox, Kevin Knight, and most luchadors. Most luchadors are around like cruiserweight weight. I only say that because like when you had WWE, the cruiserweights, a lot of them were luchadors or well, yeah, still luchadors. Yeah, they wouldn't be former luchadors because they're literally luchadors. But like, a part of me wonders if AEW kind of needs this, which yes, it would be another title, but it would be on its own show. It wouldn't really be on AEW. If you wanted to defend it on AEW on like the pre-show, you could, but it would be like its own show. And I think there's a lot of people there that could definitely use that. Because, like, I think all these guys could be in the TNT division. I think every single one of them could. I think some of them could be in higher up divisions than just the TNT division. I only named Adam Cole, by the way, because I do believe he will eventually come back. So that's why I named him, by the way. But I think all of them could be in that division. But while they're not, why not have them doing something else? And I feel like for some of these guys, there's not really much for them to do. I don't know if Brian Keith is a cruiser, by the way, but you could probably throw him in there too. But like Ace Austin, what is he doing right now? Nothing. He's just fighting Big Bill and Brian Keith. It's not really doing much with him. Like you're low key kind of like fumbling him, like you're low key fumbling him because he ain't really doing much. He's just kind of there. So it's like he's kind of there. AR Fox, I ain't seen that guy in a minute. Pac. I mean, I think Pac could be more in the TNT title division, but I think in the Cruiserweight division, he would excel. Especially if you go back to like that King of the Cruiserweights kind of thing. King of Velocity, that'd be pretty sick. Kevin Knight is somebody that I feel like could really excel there. and be able to show off the talent, just be able to, or continue to show off the talent that he is, while being able to wrestle a style that he likes a lot more, because he's able to wrestle like his high flying style still, like his fast paced style, but not as much. Oh, Nick Wayne as well. Not as much, but he's still able to do it. I think he would like it a lot more in the cruiserweight for like another like year or two before eventually going to the TNT Championship division, going to the unified title, maybe even the world title. I think what this allows them to do though too is that it allows you to get a lot of guys that you have a lot of belief in, like Kevin Knight, like Nick Wayne, like Ricochet, like Ace Austin, and say, let me make you the face of Velocity, and let's see what you do there before I make you a top champion or even like a unified champion in AEW. Can you carry that show? Can that show do numbers with you? And if it can, now I'm going to make you a top champion over here or a unified champion. Because I don't think the unified champion is considered these days. They've never really explained it at all in the slightest. So I think AEW should do this. I think they should, especially with the amount of people that really loved 205 Live. I think AEW would be wise to bring in their version of 205 Live with Velocity and try it out, see how it works. I think that they're like, a lot of people miss Rampage. A lot of people do. I personally liked Rampage a lot more than Collision. I thought it had a better name. I thought it had a better logo. I think Collision just kind of looks bland and boring. And I think people would love to see AEW Velocity. Sure, it's like a lot more AEW for me. It's a lot more wrestling for me. So it's like, goodness gracious. But maybe like put it on YouTube and just see how well it does there, and to see if it eventually gets a TV deal because it's doing so well on YouTube, or just keep it on YouTube, one of the two. I think that'd be pretty cool too. I think you could even run it after or before Dynamites and Collision, and then just air it on YouTube. That'd be pretty cool as well. I think they should. And I think it would do wonders for AEW to be able to show off a lot of these guys and be able to give them spots that maybe they wouldn't get on like AEW. So a guy like AR Fox, I don't think he's ever going to get a TNT title, which sucks because I think he's really dang talented. But I could see him getting like a Velocity Championship, if that's what you want to call it. I could see Buddy Matthews getting one of these. It sucks that this is probably going to be reduced to, but I think he's way more talented than like, you know, a cruiserweight title. But it's not a bad title. It's not a bad title by any means. It's just like, I feel like there's so much more for him. I've always felt like there's so much more for Buddy Matthews. And I think it kind of allows AEW to be more in line of like a CMLL New Japan, where it's like you have the lightweight world championship in CMLL. And then in New Japan, you have the IWGP something. Hiromu Takahashi had it. I forgot what the heck it's called. It's for like the smaller weighted dudes. I forgot what it's called. But it would allow AEW to be a lot more like them, and to be able to kind of be like the rest of the wrestling world as well, by having your heavyweight division, like your quote unquote heavyweight division, and then having your cruiserweight division as well. I think that would do wonders. And I know you're gonna get the people out there that'll say, "Oh, but the cruiserweight title just for, like, you know, is a whatever title." The cruiserweight title was more or less like what these light heavyweight titles are and all that stuff. It's a world title for smaller guys because they're smaller. And I think what it would also really do is that it would allow the, what am I thinking of? How do I word this? It would allow people to not look at smaller wrestlers and be like, "Oh, you're small, I don't believe in you to be XYZ." Because I think a lot of people tend to look at the smaller guy and they'll just be like, "You too small to be in wrestling. You're way too small for this. You got to put on more muscle." I think with this and really pushing it, because like with CMLL and New Japan, they're in different countries, so American fans aren't going to see that. With the cruiserweight, though, it pushed a lot of fans to want to see the cruiserweights do even more than just a cruiserweight, saying, "Wait, hold on, these guys can do that. I want to see them get the IC title, the US title, the world title." Then eventually they started getting those titles. They didn't get like the world title, but they started getting like the US and the IC. And I think that same thing could happen with AEW to where you can start changing the narrative around the smaller folk. So I think AEW will do it. It's going to probably be a matter of just when it does happen. I could see it happening around 2026. Maybe they want to get a lot of guys back before they end up doing it, because you're going to lose a lot of guys from your other divisions. Like if you push Ace Austin, Ricochet, Fox, Knight, Pac, Cole, Matthews, Nick Wayne, etc., you're going to push a lot of those guys to a different show, and they won't be able to be as much involved with the Dynamites and Collisions and their like divisions and all that stuff. You want to get a lot of guys back first before you do end up doing that. So I think they will. Just going to be about the timing and all that. But speaking of timing, probably couldn't even hear that. We are overtime. We done went way longer than I thought it was going to go. It's probably like a 3-hour episode, I think. But I definitely hope y'all did enjoy this episode nonetheless. As always, if you did, like, subscribe, notification bells for more links. Everything will be in the description below. Links to everything, so make sure you go check all them links out. Definitely hope y'all did enjoy this stuff. You're a Patreon sub. Much love to y'all. I'm so glad I'm not sneezing anymore. Watch me freaking have jinxed it, and now I'm gonna start sneezing. Watch. Oh my goodness gracious, man. Whatever. Here's a big old freaking kiss for your forehead. Much love to all y'all. Peace out. Bye. And yes, from now on, episodes will be dropping on Mondays, not any other day, one day a week. Let's go. Weird ending to the episode like that. Y'all want to hear a joke real quick before we leave? What does a French person say when they get hurt? I got me. I love boo boo. Oh my gosh, why does that joke crack me up so much? Have a good one, y'all.